Okay, so we're diving deep today into
Right.
something you sent over that was really fascinating.
Mm.
It's about muscle cramps in older adults. And like I was saying before we got started, um, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy how it's not just as simple as, oh, I need more potassium.
Sure.
It's like a whole bunch of things going on.
It is. It's way more complex than, just chugging some Gatorade and hoping it goes away.
Exactly. And, you were talking about older adults here. So
Yeah,
it's people who, might be experiencing a bunch of these different things at once.
absolutely. And as we age, different things change in our body.
Yeah.
And so it's important to kind of look at the whole picture.
Absolutely. And, our goal here is to like really break it down so that everybody has a better understanding.
Yeah, let's dive into those underlying mechanisms and like really see what's going on at that deeper level.
Cool. So let's start with like the nerves and muscles,
Okay.
right? The neuromuscular stuff.
Okay.
You were talking about how we lose motor neurons as we age.
Yeah, so as we get older, we naturally start losing some of those motor neurons. And those are the nerves that send signals from our brain to our muscles, telling them to contract or relax.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we lose them, the signals can become a bit, kind of messed up. Like you think of it like static on a radio line.
I see.
The message doesn't always come through clear, and sometimes that can actually trigger these like involuntary contractions or, the cramps.
So it's like the wires are getting crossed a little bit.
Exactly.
Right.
But what's even more interesting is that the nerve endings that are left,
Mm-hmm.
they can actually become more sensitive, almost like they're overcompensating for the loss.
Huh.
And so then the muscles can become like extra twitchy,
Interesting.
and that makes them more prone to cramping.
I see. So it's like, it's not just like the signal is bad. It's like
Right.
the receiver is now like super sensitive.
Exactly. And then on top of that, we have tendons.
Oh, yeah. Tendons, you mentioned those.
Right. Tendons, they naturally shorten as we get older. And when they do that, they actually put more mechanical pressure on those nerve endings, which we just talked about becoming more sensitive.
Mhm.
So it's like they're already kind of on edge, and then the tendons are like poking them even more.
No.
And that further increases their excitability, and boom, you get a cramp.
So it's like the nerves are already agitated.
Yeah.
And then the tendons just like, poking them even more.
Exactly.
Making it worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So we've got kind of like the nerve signal issue, and then we've got the tendon issue.
Mm-hmm.
What about blood flow? You mentioned that too.
Yes. Circulation is super important.
Okay.
When our blood flow isn't great, our muscles aren't getting enough oxygen and nutrients they need to function properly,
Right.
and that can definitely make them more susceptible to cramping.
Uh-huh.
And then if you think about it in a broader sense, if someone has a condition that further restricts their blood flow,
Okay.
like peripheral artery disease, for example, that significantly increases their risk of experiencing these painful cramps.
So it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Okay.
And, we often hear that advice to just drink more water, but
Yeah, drink more water, eat a banana.
right, exactly. But it's more complex than that when it comes to electrolytes.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's not just about being dehydrated.
Right.
You said that our bodies change how they regulate those electrolytes.
Yeah. As we age, our bodies can become less efficient at regulating things like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, all those key electrolytes.
Mm.
And so even if we're drinking enough water, other factors can throw off that delicate balance.
Huh.
Things like reduced kidney function, or even some medications can mess with our electrolyte levels.
Wow, so it's like
Yeah.
even if you're drinking enough water, your body might not be using it the same way.
Exactly. It's like the internal plumbing for those minerals might be changing.
Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's nutrition too, right?
Yes. Nutrition plays a huge role, and it's not just about electrolytes.
Oh.
There are so many vital nutrients that are essential for our muscles and nerves to function properly.
Like what?
Well, for example, magnesium, it helps our muscles relax, and it's important for our nerves to transmit signals properly. But the thing is, absorption of magnesium can become an issue for older adults.
I see.
Then there's calcium, which is essential for muscle contraction. But if we don't have enough, our muscles can get too excitable, and that can lead to cramps.
Makes sense.
Potassium is another big one. It helps with communication between nerves and muscles.
Huh.
Low potassium levels can disrupt those contractions, and guess what?
Cramps.
Cramps.
Okay.
And even vitamin D. We think of it for bones, but it actually contributes to muscle health too.
Oh.
And a lot of older adults are deficient in vitamin D.
Huh.
And then there's the B vitamins, which are so important for our nerve health.
Okay.
And deficiencies in B vitamins can actually cause neurological issues, including muscle cramps.
So it's like a whole symphony of nutrients that we need to keep everything working.
It really is. And they all work together. It's like a delicate internal ecosystem.
Yeah. And then you also brought up this idea of assimilation,
Yes.
like how well our bodies actually use those nutrients.
It's not just about what we eat.
Right.
It's about what our body can actually absorb and utilize.
Mm-hmm.
So as we age, our stomach acid production often decreases.
Okay.
And that can hinder how well we break down and absorb nutrients from food.
Uh-huh.
And then certain medications can interfere with nutrient absorption as well.
I see.
And even changes in our gut bacteria can affect how well we assimilate nutrients.
Wow. So it's like even if you're eating all the right things and taking your vitamins,
Yeah.
your body still might not be getting what it needs.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So we've talked about the nerves, the muscles, the tendons, the blood flow, the electrolytes, the nutrients, the gut. It's a lot.
It is.
And then you briefly mentioned some other medical conditions too.
Yeah. Things like diabetes, hypothyroidism, and kidney disease.
Right.
Those can also contribute to muscle cramps through various mechanisms.
Okay.
And, it really highlights the fact that there's often no single cause for these cramps in older adults.
Right.
It's usually a combination of these factors, all these interconnected things happening.
So it's complicated.
It can be.
And that's why, like in your notes, you said it's so important to talk to a doctor
Absolutely.
to figure out what's going on.
It's essential to consult with a healthcare professional because they can do a proper diagnosis
Right.
and then help create a personalized management plan to address the underlying causes.
So the takeaway here is that muscle cramps in older adults are not simple.
No, they're not.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a complex interplay of our nerves, our circulation, our electrolyte balance, how well we're absorbing nutrients, and even any underlying health conditions we might have.
It makes you realize how intricate our bodies are and how interconnected everything is.
It really does.
This deep dive has definitely made me think about, how many other health issues might seem straightforward on the surface, but actually have these super complex root causes. It's fascinating and a little bit scary.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what else should we be paying closer attention to when it comes to our health?
Absolutely.
And especially as we get older.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to listen to our bodies and advocate for our own well-being.
Totally. So thanks for exploring this with me. It's been really insightful.
Of course, thanks for having me.
And for everyone listening,
Yeah.
what other seemingly simple health problems have you encountered that maybe have more to them than meets the eye? What new questions does this deep dive raise for you about your own health or the health of your loved ones? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.